Right, let's get this sorted out. Okay, I need to start putting down a checklist of stuff to do as soon as I get onto the setup. So yesterday I spent quite a lot of time looking at YouTube videos, working out what they're doing, how they're presenting themselves, and what's become really apparent is that it takes a lot of practice to get fluent and to really spin up an ability just to talk bullshit to the camera and just to keep going no matter what. So the amount of just inane rubbish that these people are able to spew from their mouths as they're doing their live streaming is incredible, and I need to practice spewing bullshit and basically just be continuous in what I'm attempting to do. So that's basically the top line of everything that I've gleaned so far about this live streaming. It's working really well for me. It means that I'm forced to distill my thoughts into something that is coherent, or an attempt at coherency, and also it gives me a lot of practice and encourages me to think around how I can consistently add elements to the live stream to make it more interesting. So there are a bundle of things that I've experimented with so far, and you'll have seen these in super early tests. Things like this really easy to do, but overall what I need to be doing is working on a structure for the session. So my aim is to look at 3 different areas that I'm currently working on. The first is of course the live stream itself and my video recording, and some of the tips and tricks that I've been pulling together and I'm going to continue to pull together to make this more engaging and also more easy for me to edit up, because this whole purpose of the live stream is to force me to produce some content that I can otherwise distill, edit and create smaller, more punchy videos. And that's the thing that has been holding me back over the years, just this fact that I haven't got enough content and I haven't got enough practice in front of the camera in order to be able to make to provide me with a basis of something to work with. So all of that looks at a whole range of things, including the use of this software OBS, and including the use of a DaVinci Resolve, which are the 2 pieces of software that I've chosen to handle it. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is looking at how I can pivot as quickly as possible to getting some contract work, specifically in the area of impact guidance and impact measurement. This is sort of early stage introduction, workshops, a workshop and the basis for a program. So I've done this before. It's not going to be too much of a problem to set it up. I'm going to be covering my approach to getting together a consulting program and a proposition to begin to pitch, and I think that could be interesting to a lot of people. So the third area that I'm going to be looking at is the area of community development, community projects and corporate social responsibility, and the crossover between community projects and the involvement of companies and the charitable giving of companies. So there are a number of different elements in there. There's going to be quite a lot of refinement and polishing and distillation of those ideas into something that is ultimately intended to be coherent and that hangs together as an overall channel. And this is basically the direction that I'm going in at the moment. Now, over the last 24 hours, I've looked specifically at a range of things on YouTube, but what I'm going to do here is just briefly show, get that sorted in the background, just briefly show the breakdown of tasks. So this is one thing that I have over the years found a challenge. This whole idea of what software to use. Depends on, as I've found, it depends on the mood that I'm in. I really like the brain. It's an excellent way of sort of deconstructing your thinking on different different topics. The only problem is that the more you put into it, the more challenging it is to keep in order, and so as a result I've ended up with a whole bundle of different brains over the years, and that is one of the challenging areas, to keep it in order continually. The other thing that I've used is ClickUp very successfully for project management, and that's what I've used here, just to put these ideas down, these tasks that I want to be working through for the setup and running of the channel. And also I've used Miro as well, which is very useful, and I'm going to put that up today and use that as an example. Right, okay, that was something I did yesterday. Also, same problem here, in that a lot of this stuff is quite challenging to keep a track of. It's very easy to produce large amounts of information, and I'll give you an example here. It really is very easy to produce large volumes of information. Okay. I've got let me see if I can just change the mic in. Yes, if I change that to this, is that... Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna muck around with that at the moment. What I wanted to do was to show dictation. Hang on. Yeah, okay, so it looks like there's going to be a conflict of input sources on this. I've got the mic set up for my Rode mic. And I wanted to use the input for select a device for sound input. Now I'm not sure if this is going to be separate to this. Does this work? Question mark. Okay, clearly it does. Full stop. So you can see my point. It is really easy to produce large amounts of information. Comma, and then once that information is produced, you've then got the problem of managing it. Full stop. So the idea of putting together systems and processes for capturing and organizing information in advance is something that I want to be looking at in detail. Full stop. And I'm going to be bringing in a number of different ways in which I intend to do this in coming days. Full stop. So I'm just checking at the moment the settings here for the mic. That's still, so I've got my input for my dictation as the mic on my Mac, and input for the OBS live stream for my Rode microphone. So that's working okay. So I'm going to be, I've already been talking for 15 minutes or so on this. My intention is to deconstruct this sort of 45-minute session into these 3 areas, and what I'm going to do now is just to pull out here a little bit. I give myself some new space, and I'm going to put together just these 3 areas to start with. So it is channel development, it is proposition development, and it is community engagement. So channel development, all of the new things that I want to do in relation to channels, so I'm just going to make that so channel development, intros and outros, transitions and snippets, live stream structure. And for anyone who may watch this at any point, the whole purpose for me doing this is to force myself to become more coherent and easier to understand, and to help me to formulate my thinking around some really quite complex stuff that I'm working through at the moment. The second thing is to give myself practice in front of the camera and to produce content that I can then distill into other more snippy, snappy and sort of promotional related content. So the more effective that I can be on presenting my ideas, the more succinct and the easier that information is to engage, then the more business that I'm going to generate, and the more people will be aware of who I am and what I'm able to do. So that is the purpose of this. It's not to present something to the world as saying this is fully complete. Here I am, a polished YouTube live streamer. This really is practice for me. So if you are dialing in, checking out the stream, then yeah, welcome to my brain. This is what's going on at the moment. So of these three areas that I'm looking to develop at the moment, they are partly related to each other, but there are a number of things that I need to develop on the around the channel, and I have put a more comprehensive list here. So we've got thumbnails for YouTube videos. That's coming together quite nicely. I haven't got a system for organizing that data and keeping it in a structured way. However, yesterday I did see, let me just go to the history here. I think it was this one.
This is Kayla. She's a video editor on Fiverr, a platform for freelance services. Kayla will make an attention-grabbing social.
If you're looking to improve the look of your footage, then learning how to edit is crucial.
Yeah, I think it was this.
You can create transitions, add sound effects, color grade, and stylize your footage. So in this video, I'm going to give you 10 video editing tips that every editor should know. Everything and anything else I might need to.
Yeah, so here gives a breakdown of the folder structure that this guy uses for managing his information. So this is the sort of thing that I want to be getting to grips with really quite quickly. The more effectively I can organize my information, access it whenever I want, and just keep things tidy, then the better it is for me and the more quickly I can progress. So that's one of the first things that I want to do here. And if we go back to my delivery list, that really relates to planning a structure for running live streams to enable easy post-production editing. The other thing that I need to do for specifically for this is to work out how I can just talk more coherently, comprehensively and quickly to the camera. The last thing that I want to be doing is making people hanging on every word, and one of my sort of default positions, particularly if I'm not that switched on or not forcing myself to be that switched on, is that I do tend to slow down in the way that I'm communicating, and that slowing down can be really quite annoying, and it is certainly very difficult to edit. So if I'm able to continually and consistently talk to the camera on a topic that I'm just going to be building up as I go, then this is certainly practice that I want to develop. Now going back to the general list here, how do I make output more magnetic? Well, I guess this is one of the start things that I can do. I can become a bit more proficient about flipping backwards and forwards between the different screens and setups that I've got, getting those organized in advance so that everything is moving really quite smoothly once the channel gets switched on. Breakdown topic areas I'm likely to cover. Okay, well, I'm beginning to get down into here with this channel development area, so I'm going to leave that just for the moment. Intros, outros, transitions and snippets. Actually, let me just put in editing options. I'll put in liver cuts. OBS development. Right, so there's and DaVinci skills. So there's a bundle of things that's on my mind here. It's quite interesting, this tool. So proposition development. Proposition development, I need to put together a template program. So the whole purpose of my focus and activities at the moment, let's put this down into there. The whole purpose of my activities at the moment is to develop a process that will allow me to very rapidly put together and test a proposal for an education program, full stop. The purpose of the education program can differ dependent on the audience and the topic, but what I want to do is to put together an approach that will allow me to develop and test a series of ideas rapidly, and to use the live stream and YouTube capabilities as well as I possibly can in order to support that, full stop. Now I'm going to go into some more detail here on how I plan to do that. My experience over the last few years has been to develop an understanding around a particular area to the point where I'm able to teach, inform and support others around that topic, and then to identify people who've got a need and interest in that particular topic, and to work out ways in which I can develop contracted, consulting oriented approaches. Now it has worked, it's worked really well. One of the things that I'm going to be doing over the next few days is putting together some live examples of that. So there is a brilliant project that I was involved in a number of years ago with the Science and Technology Facilities Council. Went from zero knowledge and understanding of non-destructive testing using the UK's ISIS neutron source. So that's a 400 million pound neutron accelerator located in Harwell, Oxfordshire. The entire place is absolutely enormous, and I was taken on to support the Harwell Imaging Partnership team identify new industrial uses for the facility. And now there's a whole backstory to that. I'll give that another time when I can give an overlay of the work that I was doing. But that's one example of an approach that I developed very successfully, and then I've subsequently gone on to repeat that in a number of different guises. My intention is to put together a process or a structure for me in order to test a number of things. The first thing that I need to do is to pivot really quite rapidly based on my experiences over the summer, and to get to a stage where now this is a point of interest for me. So I had a very significant pivot in terms of career over the summer, and we're now end of September, and things are moving on really quickly. Time's moving on. I've got a project in the meantime that is bringing money in, but the aim now is to put together a repeatable proposition that I can consistently deliver, rather than looking for random stuff that that comes to me serendipitously. I want to be able to leverage a particular process and do that consistently. And in fact, this live stream is one of the ways in which that process can help me to do that. Now, this whole idea of a template program will allow me to test ideas that I've got myself, but will also allow me to test my ideas and to test other opportunities. And I've got an opportunity of testing a program that's kind of the topic. And this area, this thing is basically I want to look at the relationship between corporate social responsibility and the benefits that local communities are receiving from the support they're getting from the private sector, full stop. I'm sure there's loads going on here, comma. It's a really interesting topic, comma, because it raises the question around moral and ethical responsibilities that corporations have got to their local communities and the people that work for them in a way that steps beyond the boundaries of the typical responsibilities of a corporation, which is to make profit for shareholders, full stop. There's very often a dichotomy, open brackets if that's the right word, close brackets, around the willingness and intent of a group of people within a company to deliver support and value and charitable benefit to people that they work with and people who are on the periphery of the company, comma, and the responsibility those individuals have to maximizing profits and to ensure that the use of resources within the organization is allocated effectively, full stop. So one of the things that I want to be doing over coming weeks is to explore how that can be reconciled, how those concepts are being balanced by different corporations, full stop, and how they are also relating to the whole concept of ESG and the principles around sustainability and impact reporting, full stop. Yeah, so you see that's given me a whole load of information, and I will do that. Dichotomy, a division into two contrasting things or parts. Yeah, that's what I intended to say. Yes, so I've got some ideas about people who I can approach for that. But again, what I want to do is to be focusing on systems right now. These systems that I'm going to need to effectively develop the channel, the systems that I'm going to need to develop to test and refine the proposition that I intend to present, and the systems that I'm going to develop to engage communities. Now, you could say that if I just put in here, put develop systems to support channel development, proposition development, and community engagement. That kind of sums it up. And also I'm very interested in driving all of my activities off the back of what are called OKRs. So you'll have seen stuff, or at least I know I've shared it on screen, stuff in relation to OKRs that I've already put together. Here we go. I want to address this for example, this 100,000 subscribers. I just put that here very recently as an adjustment to the original. I'm looking for history here, see whether or not I can see what the original title was. But originally, I think that the title was around the development of regular content, and this was my attempt to convert it into a goal which is a bit more specific. I want to turn it into a goal, or I need to be turning it into a goal that's really specific. And the whole idea behind OKRs is, let me show you this link quickly. Getting started with company OKRs. So let's see if I can open this up and see whether it's zoomable. Yeah, it is. Okay, great. So the purpose of company OKRs. OKR stands for Objective and Key Results, a goal setting technique. Used at many companies. Two main components: objective and key results. Planning prep. There's a lot of preparation that goes into the planning cycle, and that's what I'm doing at the moment, because setting it up is apparently an absolute fundamental foundational step in the process. I've begun to do that, but it does need refinement, and one of the issues of working on your own is that it's difficult to go beyond a burst of activity on your own. Very often you need other people to sort of force you through that activity, and that's one of the reasons why this live stream is really useful to me, because pretending there are people watching means that I need to be clear about how I'm organizing myself and what my actual objectives are. So this is one of the first areas that I'm focusing on as I progress over the next few weeks. So there's a lot of preparation. Pre-work could include some reflection on current quarter, some initial brainstorming of company OKRs, setting company OKRs, set function and team OKRs. So this approach is going to be, well, this approach as presented here is designed for corporations and organizations with clearly a lot of people working for them. And it's designed in a way that will allow them to develop a clear vision for a delivery on a particular set of objectives, and then to deconstruct those objectives into the type of results that they need to be seeing consistently over time in order to deliver effectively against the objectives that they've set. So this gives you a breakdown of how to approach this. This W model. Coincidentally, these dates are close, but have got no relevance whatsoever to the timing. W model. So yeah, so this W model approach for setting OKRs is designed to represent the movement in focus or involvement of the leadership versus the delivery team. So both the leadership and the delivery team need to have a clear understanding of what the objectives are for the organization or for the department or for whatever the group is that is going to be focusing and developing these OKRs. So the leadership needs to have a good understanding, and also the delivery team needs to have a good understanding. And the W model is an approach for developing OKRs whereby the ball is passed backwards and forwards between the leadership team and the delivery team. So it becomes a collaborative approach, setting up the process of how what these objectives are and how they're going to be delivered. So this really just goes into some more detail about how to do it, and in many ways, for my purposes right now, not really necessary to go into this amount of detail. But suffice to say that really relates to the OKRs. The ones that I've got here are not, in principle, that I've got no reason to really change them. They're all important, but I think that they need to be refined. Some valid questions here. Build a recognized brand. That is an objective. The reason that I want to be building a recognized brand is because consistently throughout my consulting career, I've worked on some amazing projects, but each project has been an island in itself. It's been operated in isolation, and once that project is complete, I'm in a position where I've got to go and look for something completely new, or something, of course, that's on the periphery of it, but it's this classic consultant challenge of feast or famine. So the aim for this channel is to begin to develop messages around topics that I find personally interesting, and topics that can act as a common thread through all of the work that I'm doing. So, to whom will we drive the core messages? Recognized where? Recognized by whom? Our objective is to build a recognized brand by focusing on a number of sub areas. We will look at content. How do we develop content on a regular basis? My conclusion is that blog should drive everything. So I wrote this on the 2nd of August, so that's like a month and a half ago. Since then, I've obviously taken up this whole approach of producing content via video blog or vlog, and YouTube live streaming to force me into producing that and working it through. But the principle stands. It's the blog that encapsulates the thinking and the exploration, from that point, I reckon we've got a really good opportunity to expand and develop some good and quality messages around how people can take control of their working life when they are living in significant uncertainty, how they can, at the very least, feel that they're more in control and are actually doing something positive, even if they can't see any immediate results. And that is one of the things that I think is really useful to consider. You've got the situation, certainly that I've experienced, that over a period of time, if you're uncertain about what you're intending to do and you don't quite know what your next steps are, there's a tendency to become very, very demoralized. And if you're in a situation where your default position is to put your CV together or to brush up your CV and then to approach a whole load of people completely cold and to cruise and hunt the job boards looking for things that are relevant to you, you're only going to end up in a situation where inevitably, unless you're very fortunate, you're going to be looking at beginning to accept a reduction in your capabilities. You want to be looking for, you're going to be looking for things that are easy to do, and you're going to be looking for things where you feel that you've got a chance of actually getting the job. And the more concerned and anxious you are, the easier those jobs will become, because you will, or the easier the jobs that you will select as options, because of the fact that you want to guarantee that security. Yeah, enough said. It's really stressful a place to be, and one of the things that I do have a lot of experience on is how to deal with this uncertainty, and I'm currently dealing with it at the moment. So documenting my approach as something that I can share is certainly something that I'm going to be practicing and developing further. So I reckon 6:33. I'm certainly sure that I've spoken more consistently, more fluently and more quickly over the last 45 minutes than I have done up until now. Hopefully that's going to make it as an easier thing to edit up. Now I need to be looking at the different aspects that I can bring into the live stream to make it just a one step more professional. So I've got this holding screen at the beginning, which is here. I think I could have something on here that says live stream starting in, and then put together an intro. That'll give me a starting point. There's a whole bundle of things to do, but it's hey, life's a journey. Thanks for being here. See you soon. Bye.